Hi, thanks for joining me today. This is my week 4 update on my 6-week experiment of taking part in the carnivore diet. I've been strict carnivore with the intention of becoming fat adapted with 2 objectives. Objective 1 is to drop some body weight and get into as close to race weight for my next marathon block, which starts now in 2 weeks' time. And the second objective is to try to relieve some arthritis pain in my hands. The carnivore diet, or a very low carb diet, low sugar diet, is supposed to really help in inflammation in the joints, and that is why I've decided to take this on as an experiment. Where do I sit now after 4 weeks being on the carnivore diet? Great question. The biggest difference I see is I have lost body weight. Now, most of that body weight came off in the first week. I lost a lot, about 8.5 pounds, or about almost 4 kilo in 1 week. That's obviously glycogen and water. This week, not as successful as some of the other ones, but and I really don't genuinely have a good explanation for it, other than my body is obviously adapting to this type of eating and digestion and the rest of it. I didn't do a lot of running this week too, which may have been part of it, but we'll see as we go through. The other thing is my hands. I very little change in my hands. The pain in my hands still is there. Opening jars, holding tools, particularly with using my thumb as a leverage point. It's sore, and working with my hands is considerably painful as well, with no real change in that regards. So I'd say it's a fairly good experiment so far. I can't really complain. The running has started to feel a little bit easier. And if you stick around at the end, I'll talk a little bit about the one thing I'm not happy about. But I'll get into that in a bit with regards to the running. So how do I feel about the whole overall experiment? I would say it's an easy diet to follow. I feel fine on it. I don't think about food. I'm not hungry. I eat well. I eat plenty. Uh, Overall, it's fine. And fine does not define a particularly exciting diet. I suppose I could be a little bit more adventurous with my cooking. I'm not on this particular diet. I pretty much stick to the same breakfast every day, which is 5 to 6 scrambled eggs with cottage cheese mixed in, and I'll throw some sliced ham in the pan, or some chorizo, or some bacon, or some type of meat that'll um, add some substance to the eggs, and I cook everything in butter. It's really tasty. I like it, but not particularly adventurous. And then I think I went through this before. In the evening, I'll have either some type of beef. I'll have either mince, or sometimes pork chops, or chicken thighs, or um, sometimes I'll have chicken hearts and livers. Uh, the reason for that in particular is because I'm conscious of my iron levels. Running in a hot climate like I do, iron can be quite a problem if you're not staying on top of it. So, yeah. So that's pretty much what my eating looks like. So what did the numbers look like this week? Nothing exciting. As a matter of fact, strange one. I didn't run much. I ran about 15 miles this week, about 24K, mostly easy miles, but then I just don't feel pacey at all. Even despite losing all the weight, I don't feel pacey. I'm not light on my feet. I'm trying to be maintaining good form and technique. And this is a good idea for any runner who's doing any easy running, long running, without massive effort or intensity, is to really focus on form. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm getting my cadence up a little bit. Cadence for me is a good indicator of good form. for me personally, and I just use it as a gauge. But I also can tell by how I am carrying myself if, when I make a mental note, I have to lift my shoulders back and down. If I'm not running tall, it's a real indicator of me being very inefficient. And so when I'm on an easy run, I do make mental notes to look at those things. But very low volume this week. That was run over 3 days. 2 of those days were back to back, and I'll go through my experience of running, particularly those back to back days, at the end here. As far as weight goes, I actually gained weight this week despite having a massive calorie deficit once again. I gained 0.8 of a pound, which is almost half a kilo. Not not great. I was surprised by that, to be honest. I've had some suggestions as to why that might be, but I think ultimately it comes down to the fact that my body is just adapting to the whole change that it's going through right now, and it's probably holding on to some fat just as a precaution. I'm guessing. I don't know. I would anticipate when I start introducing carbs in the next 2 to 3 weeks that is going to rise considerably. But if I could keep myself under 160, I think I'd be happy with that. So that's the weight. Now, as far as my calories and my nutrition goes, calories, I was at 1814. So my objective is to stay around 1800 calories a day. I was there or thereabouts, and I still put on weight. So that's strange. Now, many people would say 1800 calories, that's not enough. Uh, Clearly, it's enough, right? If I'm putting on weight. Uh, but yeah, it is what it is, and that is what my average daily calorie intake was. And the way that 1814 calories broke down was it averaged at 126 grams of protein per day, 25 grams of carbs, and 134 grams of fat. If we look at percentages of total calories, that's 28% of my calories were from protein, 5% of my calories were from carbs, and 67% of my calories were from fat. I think that's a pretty good indication that I am following carnivore pretty well. That's kind of what we're looking for macros. So another thing that I've been tracking is my water intake. And this past week, it averaged at 4.92 liters, so just under 5 liters per day. That's, yeah, you need to drink more on a no carb diet, and you need to drink more in hot weather. And it has been extremely hot weather here over the past number of weeks. So 5 liters, I think, is probably reasonable. I typically drink about 3.5 liters per day when I'm not on carnivore, when I'm on a normal balanced diet. So 5 liters is a little bit more, but I think it's appropriate. And as far as the heart rate goes, my average daily heart rate, I think last week I mentioned that it is starting to climb back up again where I would anticipate it to be, considering my current fitness level. And it dialed in at 43 beats per minute on average this past week, which is really what I was expecting. I would say that by the end of this experiment, by the end of the 6 weeks, I'll be probably around 44. I definitely feel less fit than I did before I started this. That there's a ton of reasons why that could be. I'm trying to maintain a positive outlook on all of this stuff, but I think it is an indication of my body having adapted for so many years to be, fueled by glycogen. My glycogen stores were massive, and my body just ran efficiently. Now, I did not come to the carnivore for any specific reason other than those two reasons that I described earlier. I think a lot of people come to carnivore or keto or no carbs or low carbs because they have a specific lifestyle that they're looking to change. I didn't have that. So I'm not looking for massive, mental clarity. I'm not looking for massive change in overall health and fitness. I'm pretty well healthy and fit at the minute, or I have been for a number of years now. So um, that's not where I came to it from. And so maybe that's why I'm not experiencing such a huge shift in my mental clarity and my overall feeling of well-being. That said, I don't feel particularly bad. It's just I'm not getting that kick that I would have expected from what a lot of people were telling me. Um, so running. Why do I feel that running is still hard? I'm struggling to get under a 5 minute per K pace, which is an 8 minute mile. Even on a good flat or slightly downhill route, it is a struggle to get under a 7 minute mile. That should be relatively easy considering marathon pace for me should be around a 650 or below, which is like a 417 or below per K. This is a massive thing that I need to work on when it comes to my marathon training block. So I don't feel like that is coming along as fast or as well as I'd like it to be. Now, I know a lot of people have come back to me and said that they've run spectacular times being fat adapted and running on no carb diets. I just haven't experienced that yet. Um, Particularly, I think the recovery from a run is so much slower for me now than it would have been on a more balanced diet. So the recovery is just taking a lot longer. When I finish even a 10K run, 6 miler, I am feeling it for the rest of the day. Now that is very unusual for me in considering that's a relatively easy pace. That I shouldn't be feeling that at all. I should be able to, just go about my day without even noticing that I ran that day. Um, that said, it isn't like that. And when I do back-to-back days, that second day is taking me a lot longer to get into any kind of rhythm or to feel comfortable enough, even at an easy pace, that I'm going to finish that comfortably. Recovery is slower. From my experience, recovery is taking a lot longer than it did when I was on a more balanced diet. Now, I'm not fully adapted, I'm sure. And I'm almost considering going back to a balanced diet sooner than 6 weeks. But I've committed to 6. I'm going to stick with 6 and just see how it goes. The other thing is I'm not taking any painkillers or any other of the remedies that people have suggested to me, only because I want to ensure that I'm giving this carnivore diet the opportunity to make the improvements in my health and well-being that I was expecting it to. But so far, it really hasn't occurred. So um, other than that, really, it's a very easy diet to follow. I don't mind it. I don't miss anything. I have no cravings, but it's not doing what I was hoping it would do, and that's after a month. And I know another couple of weeks may be the difference makers. I don't know, but we'll have to see. All I'll say is thanks for sticking around, and I would really appreciate it if you're interested in running content and somebody that is willing to put their bodies through different changes to experiment with their body, as particularly as a marathon runner. Um, Subscribe and hit that bell button and get your notifications when new content comes out. I honestly would really appreciate it, and all your support has been amazing, and I can't tell you how much it means to me. So like and comment and ask your questions. All that stuff really helps me. So that's it. So week 4 done, going on to week 5 now, and I will catch up to you next week. All right, happy running.